when artists come together and able to recreate things. Like I was really, really, really geeked out. Like, wow, like not even knowing how they were going to do it, but then seeing it, I'm just wowed because the detail, it's so specific.
So she's at the hospital 5 days at Memorial and during Hurricane Katrina, and she's watching, basically the system fail everyone around her. It's just heart-wrenching to see it all from her perspective too. I mean, how do you get into a character for a role with so many layers?
I think it's a great question. I think it's like a balance of my own thoughts and my own experiences of something like Katrina, but the book from which the series is based off of was a great resource in terms of really giving you historical background and just background in general on the hospital, New Orleans as it pertains to the hospital, like the importance of that hospital in that city and the people, a lot of the people that were involved. And so just kind of getting what felt like firsthand account, it really helped to get in that world. And also too, I have family members who are healthcare workers. And so a combination of all of that really helped guide me along in terms of the portrayal of this character of Karen Wynn. Yeah.
Did you feel like a big sense of responsibility to portray her accurately?
Well, to play a dramatized version of her accurately, for sure. Like just wanting to be as honest as possible, as vulnerable as possible, as open as possible, not shying away, not, which is easy to do. It feels like when you're an actor, because, you have the luxury of like when the story is done for the day, I can get to go home and, but in the moment when your spirit and your brain is kind of resisting what's happening in a scene, a hard, challenging scene, it's like, no, I have a job to do, just like someone like a Karen Wynn had a job to do. She had a job to take care of people in spite of being tired and hot and hungry and not being with her family. And so it's like, if all those people were able to do it in real life, I'm able to do it. I'm able to tell the story, to stay in it. That is my job. And I wanted to do that justice in terms of respecting what happened and what happens now, as we see with COVID, just respect that responsibility to really bring that as honestly and truthfully as possible.
Did you get to speak to her at all?
I didn't.
I know that the author of the book spoke to so many people, so that was such a neat resource.
Yeah,
or a great resource.
It was an incredible. That book is dense and the work and the care involved in telling that complete story. There was so much there. And I got to talk to Sherry as well about a lot of things. And so that was, it was a good go-between because she obviously talked to all of these people and she had so much to offer.
I agree. What was it like being on set with all of the water pouring in? Just seeing it, I can't imagine being there on the set.
Honestly, there's that part of you that's, I don't know whether that kid in you or just that part of you that's just really fascinated about the magic of when artists come together and able to recreate things. Like I was really, really, really geeked out. Like, wow, like not even knowing how they were going to do it, but then seeing it, I'm just wowed because the detail, it's so specific. And then it also helped immensely to really place us in the moment as much as possible. It's very, very, very detailed, very helpful.
Do you think that the series, were you able to view it yet?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think they did a good job portraying all of the social, racial inequalities that actually happened at that time?
I think it's a complex story. And I felt it reading the book. I felt it reading the scripts. I felt it on set, before, when Katrina happened, just feeling all of the feelings and the complexities. And there's just so much to take in. And I think I'm very proud of I'm very proud in which the story was handled with care and tenderness. Those are like the two words when I think about how the story was handled. And you know, I'm very proud of it. And I hope that people will talk about it, form their own opinions. Because I don't think we're telling people how to feel about anything. We're just showing you as best we can what this story was like for these people. And, you know, the hope is that people just talk and, you know, hopefully something like this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, no, I agree. I still don't know how to feel. I'm like so torn.
Yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense that because again, I can have my own feelings, but I wasn't on the ground. I didn't feel, I wasn't, you know, I wasn't having to deal with rising waters and heat and power failures and taking care of patients. And yeah, it's pretty, it's unbelievable. It's how do you grasp we shouldn't be able to grasp our minds around a situation like this.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm not sure how much we're allowed to say about this before. I know they don't want to ruin any plot points, but you know, they talk about in the trailer some of the gray areas towards the end of the 5 days and what happened. Do you think, even, you know, with like the wristbands, do you think you would be on the same page as your character was in the?
Oh man, it's so hard to tell. It's so hard to know because it's so hard to know because, like I said, it's one thing to create, you know, to have a creative exploration of the real events, and there's another thing to be there. And so, I don't know. What I do feel is that, you know, these people were put in a very, very complex situation, and I feel like, well, definitely in the story, in the series, what we see is people trying to do their best from their own individual point of view to make things better. I don't know. It's a tough one. I don't know. It's tough.
So what's it's just the one thing you want everyone to take away from after they watch it?
I want people to be able to talk about it. You know, everyone's going to have different ideas and feelings about it, and which is valid. And it's okay to have conversations and debates and arguments. But then at the same time, okay, really have conversations with all of that about how possibly we don't repeat this again. I mean, we saw a little bit of this during COVID with what people had to deal with on the healthcare side. But how can we keep having those conversations so that, you know, the people that we take for granted are supported? Because that's like a big thing. We take so much for granted for what these people do. And they shouldn't be taken for granted. So if we could find ways so that people aren't, yeah, that would be great.
Even just the government response, I was so appalled. I mean, I think watching it, you know, I didn't know a lot of those things. I think a lot of people will feel the same way. And I'm just like, I was so angry. Like, why did they make them leave? Just the government response in particular. I was just so angry by it.
Yeah. I mean, it's angering. It's just funny. Like, you know, for me, what was angering about, you know, watching Katrina happen as it happened, you know, as a Black person, you're seeing people who look like you being affected. And so because I live in America, you know, we're used to how things can go in a myriad of ways, but it's always kind of surprising and shocking still, just the levels of how a system can fail its people. I never get used to it, even though I've experienced things either firsthand or secondhand, but I never get used to it. And I think, you know, in the series, we really do see all the areas in which people were failed. Health workers, patients, families, federal level, corporate level, like it just, local level, just how things just went by the wayside.
I agree. I mean, and no one should get used to seeing it. Shouldn't be the norm.
That's right. That's right.
But so anyway, when does it come out? August 12th,
August
right?
12th. Yeah.
August 12th, 5 Days Memorial, and it's on Apple TV Plus, right?
Yes.
Thank you so much for speaking with me. It was so nice to talk to you.
A pleasure. Thank you for your questions, Rachel.